Hey, so I wanted to make this video. I got into a little bit of a discussion the other day about Buddhism, and I brought up meaninglessness, and I brought it up as a positive, and other people who I was bringing this up with did not quite get that I was what exactly I was talking about. So I spent the last 2 days going over Schopenhauer, the Dhammapada, Sadhana, and the Thus Spake Zarathustra by Nietzsche. So I'm going to start with Nietzsche because Nietzsche is the one who put it into clear terms that this loss of objective meaning, which he posited was really given to mankind by the idea of God, and he's sort of right in that. The belief in God gave mankind something that we could all look to and see meaning in. Science then removed God from the equation, and we no longer had any objective meaning that we could look to. And this is not a happy thing. This is a sad thing. Nietzsche then goes on to describe two different kinds of people: the Ubermensch and the Untermensch, the overman, the superman, and the underman, the animalistic man. The overman is a man who takes charge of his life. He finds his own meaning. He does what he wants to do, but he seeks something more than just this animalistic nature. The underman, in Thus Spake Zarathustra, he even mentions this, that people who believe that sex is like the highest of pleasures are no better than a dog, no better than an animal. Now this leads me to the next part, which is the Dhammapada and the Sadhana. The Dhammapada is the collections of the Gautama Buddha's teachings. Gautama Buddha never actually wrote down anything. He spoke. He went around and spoke to people and gave various teachings in the spoken word. And people had to write down what he said and collect it and put it into a singular book. Now, in the Dhammapada, it is said numerous times that all created life is suffering and grief, which fits very well with what Nietzsche said. Life without God is just suffering. Life without an objective source of meaning is very, very miserable, unless you can rise above it and seek your own meaning, seek your own virtue, seek your own goals and objectives. And in the Dhammapada, it is proposed that to live virtuously, which is to not give into any extreme of love or hate, but to live a moderate path, have a mindset which is mostly neutral, and seek virtue for the sake of others, not harming others. Doing good for others is actually the utmost virtue, and is will make life better. Now let's just go over this a little bit, because if you have the perspective that life is suffering and misery and grief, and you might be really sad. But if you are neutral about it and you go, okay, I expect life to be miserable, then when things aren't miserable, you're happy. You're very pleasantly surprised when a good thing happens. It's a very, very good thing. because you were expecting suffering and you got something that was the opposite of suffering. It's a very positive thing to expect suffering and not get it. Now, Schopenhauer has been called the Western Buddha. His conclusions, his writings, are very much the same. Life is very miserable. Religion often teaches that life is good, which is observably not true. And when you are expecting good things and bad things happen, you're crushed by it. You're obliterated by it. So Schopenhauer proposed that life is suffering. But Schopenhauer also proposed that, in the meaninglessness of this suffering, you can find good things because of the virtue that you can display, because of the good things that can happen, that do happen. Now, I personally have actually had a couple of awakenings to this sort of thing, this sort of meaninglessness of existence. But it was a positive thing for me. Now let me explain what I mean by that. I realized in early 2018 that culture is meaningless. It's just a distraction from problems. If you're distracted from problems, you can't really solve them. I also realized that clothing, houses, cars, it's all kind of pointless. It's kind of meaningless, and that's not a bad thing, because a house is just a box that is set on the soil. And if you take that viewpoint, does it matter if you have a big box or a little box? It really doesn't matter. You have a box. Everyone else has a box. We all have boxes that we stay in. This viewpoint really helped me a lot. I found that a lot of my problems were coming from desiring more, better boxes on the soil, better cloth drapes. But it doesn't matter. I'm clothed. The purpose of clothing is to keep you from being naked. It doesn't really serve much more of a purpose than that. Sure, some people might use it for displaying wealth or status, but billionaires. Mark Zuckerberg, he wears t-shirts, jeans, and sneakers. He's a billionaire. Someone who is nearly dirt poor might wear, a business suit. There are actually videos coming out of Africa. These candy something, I forget what it was called, but these African guys, they wear these really extravagant, expensive suits and shoes, and they're walking down dirt roads, walking out of a hut down a dirt road, dressed like this. They're basically starving, dressed like an extremely wealthy person. Clothing does not actually mean anything. It doesn't actually signify status. It's meaningless. Now, cars, you can get a fast car, but does it really matter? As long as the car gets you from point A to point B, does it really matter if you have a Lamborghini or a PT Cruiser or a clunker from 30 years ago? It doesn't matter. It's meaningless. Why would you bother lusting after things that don't actually hold value, don't actually mean anything? And this viewpoint really helped me. I went homeless last year for about 2 months, and because I already had this viewpoint of, a house is just a box and clothing is just to keep you from being naked. Clothing, I mean, it can also keep you warm. But I wasn't worried. I wasn't stressed. A back alley that I slept in when I was homeless means as much to me as my room. It has no uh, no power over my mental state. I wasn't stressed when I was homeless. I'm not stressed now. I have a house now. I'm not homeless anymore. But people need to withdraw from this materialistic urge to just have better stuff. That's where a lot of suffering comes from. Is the drive to have better stuff and the feeling that if you don't have better stuff or bigger boxes, you don't have a bigger box on the soil, then you're a failure or something. That's a stupid viewpoint to take, and I know a lot of people take that viewpoint. So really, meaninglessness can be a good thing, and that's about all I wanted to say about that. Thanks for watching.